The election is already underway. Early voting is going on in many states, and now we're less than 2 weeks before Tuesday, November the 5th. The Democrat attacks on former President Trump are getting, well, more personal. He's being called incompetent, unhinged, bumbling, loony. Now, from my own experience in running for office and being in politics, it's a sign of two things: desperation from the Harris campaign and the lack of anything real that she can run on, and any other attack that has not been able to work. Real Clear Politics is showing Donald Trump taking a noticeable, though slight, lead in all the key battleground states. So with the clock running out, let's get into all of this with a proven, honest journalist, Susan Crabtree, who's the political correspondent for Real Clear Politics. Susan, welcome back. It's great to have you. Enjoyed our conversation the last time, so glad you could be here as we get down to the funnel of this election just before it finally comes to a merciful conclusion.
Thanks so much for having me back.
All right, let's jump into this because in the last couple of weeks, there has seemingly been a significant momentum shift with the tailwinds favoring Donald Trump. Having been on the ballot many times, I've always said, you don't care what things are looking like in the summer, 3-4 months out. What you really care about is where is the momentum in the 2 to 3 weeks just before the election? Where's it heading? What's the buzz, if you will? And right now, it appears that Donald Trump has definitely got momentum. And it's in part that he's connecting with people, going to a barbershop in the Bronx and frying up French fries in a McDonald's and just sort of being everyman. In the meantime, Kamala Harris actually has taken a day off, which is just unheard of for a major candidate, major race this close to the election. Assess what are we seeing, and do you see signs of a shift in the momentum over the last week or two?
Well, certainly in the last week and even 2 weeks, Donald Trump has really closed the margins. Real Clear Politics we do the average of polls. So she still is up about 0.7%, less than 1% on the national level. But when you look at the battlegrounds, Donald Trump has flipped all of those to his side. Some of them by large margins. In Ohio, for instance, he's up by 7. Arizona, he's up by 1.5, and he has a bigger margin in Georgia, 2.5, around there. The other ones are all the other battlegrounds, and especially the blue wall that everyone likes to talk about, that Kamala Harris really needs to win, the Democratic stronghold up in the Midwest. Those are all less than 1%. But 2 weeks ago, Harris had most of those, including Wisconsin and Michigan, and now Donald Trump is ahead. So it is really, the momentum is on his side. It's close, so he's telling everybody to go out and vote, or to early vote, and we're seeing that impact both in Georgia and Nevada. There are great early signs of get out the vote for Republicans right now, early signs, but no one can be too comfortable right now. It's coming down to the wire. Certainly, we're seeing Donald Trump out there engaging. Tonight, Kamala Harris did take the day off. She did a sort of a desperation move that we can talk about back at the vice president's mansion, which I thought was unusual. But tonight, she's going to do a CNN town hall. Now, my question for her is this a real town hall? Because we saw the other one with Maria Shriver, and someone asked her, are we going to be able to get questions? That's the definition of a town hall. And Maria Shriver said, no, we have pre-designated questions. We already have them ready. Hopefully I'll be able to ask something that's on your mind. And I just couldn't believe it, that they have just changed the definition of a town hall from a freewheeling, something that's been in the history of our country, from the very earliest days, to something completely different, a staged where she gets the questions. They're all pre-prescribed. She probably has all the answers already laid out and memorized. Not very freewheeling at all.
The economy is uncertain. You never know whether your money's worth as much today as it was yesterday. It's one of the reasons I buy gold from American Hartford Gold. American Hartford Gold has earned a 5-star rating and an A+ from the Better Business Bureau. be sure to tell them Mike Huckabee sent you. They'll give you up to $15,000 of free silver on your first qualifying order. Call 844-417-1010 or text Mike to 998899. You'll be glad you did business with American Hartford Gold. Did you mention the little press thing she did out front of the vice president residence, which really wasn't a press conference? She didn't take any questions. She came out and made a very vitriolic statement, which I was stunned because all the talk from this White House about, oh, we can't answer that because it'd be a violation of the Hatch Act. And then she uses the official grounds of the vice president residence to issue one of the most vicious and harsh attacks. Here's the question, Susan. I don't think this seems to be working. It almost is like it's working against them. The more they call Donald Trump Hitler and Mussolini, the more bizarre it becomes and the less credible it becomes. It's like the old statement that once you invoke Hitler into the conversation, you've lost the argument. You're just now flailing. Why would they approach this that way? On one hand, you've got, and I just want to mention this, you've got people like John Tester and Bob Casey, Democrats running for re-election. They're trying to identify with Trump right now in their paid ads, like, oh yeah, we're okay with Trump. We support some of his stuff. And I'm thinking, if he's Hitler, who wants to say in their paid ads, I'm with Hitler? I mean, this is bizarre. I've never seen anything quite like this.
I haven't either. And certainly we've had a whole change in tone from her Kamala Harris's convention when it was all, great vibes and joy, and to that interview, that very telling interview with Bret Baier, where it was combative and she was on the defensive the whole time, and she was pivoting to Donald Trump as much as she possibly could. And she didn't seem to be putting forth any ideas of her own. Now, when you ask, they say, the whole campaign is supposed to be about change and moving forward, turning the page. But she can't name one thing that she would do differently than Joe Biden. So it's just kind of a bizarre, empty, with very little content. And now she, again, in the very last 2 weeks, I think you're supposed to be, most campaign strategists like to end on an up note. They like to be engaging with the voters. And just what you saw over the weekend with Donald Trump at McDonald's, very fun, lighthearted. Yes, it was staged, but it was a stage in a very good way where he was interacting and showing a little bit of humor, a lighter side. Here she is, doubling down, and it seems like she's trying to reach out and consolidate her base. She's had so many problems even with maintaining Black voter support for her campaign, which is just very strange to me, as she would be the first Black woman president. So, you have Barack Obama having to, berate Black male voters, and even accuse them and saying that maybe you're not voting for her because of misogynistic reasons. Well, that seems, when you're going back to average American workers, they're feeling the pinch of the inflation and certainly the gas prices all across this country. And that's what is going to resonate with them. She does have a plan for Black voters, but that's not what she's emphasizing in the final days here. She's going after Trump once again, going very, very negative. And today it just seemed like it was all planned and staged because she took the day off and she went to the vice president's mansion residence.
Yeah, you made a very important point that people who have observed this stuff for a long time recognize. Many viewers may not think about it. But one of the, givens of a campaign is that you want to end on a positive note. You don't want to be screaming and yelling in the last 2 to 3 weeks and making it sound like I'm desperate. But that's exactly what the Harris campaign seems to be doing.